Welcome to the Ronline Report. The Mr. Olympia is coming up next weekend in Las Vegas. Who better to have as a guest to follow up? Our last guest was an 8-time Mr. Olympia. This is the original 8-time Mr. Olympia. The one and only totally awesome Lee Haney, joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, Lee, for joining us today.
Hey, Ron, it's a pleasure to be with you. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, sir, doing well.
All right.
Before we get into any of the Olympia talk, I'm going to take these headphones off because they don't seem to be doing anything. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Lee Haney Games coming up next month?
Oh, man, I'm extremely excited about the game. This is an event that we started 3 years ago. Well, it's been going on more than that. We first started it with we call it the GNC Show of Strength.
Yeah.
Way back, and I think, I don't know, it was several years ago, maybe 2000. Anyway, it is morphosized into what is now Lee Haney's Physique and Fitness Games. It's an event that includes a NPC qualifier for physique, bikini, figure, classic physique. Then we also have the fitness games. So we got physique games and we got fitness games. That encompasses strongman, powerlifting, arm wrestling, dance, and cheerleading. Also, we're having garage games connected to us this year. We also have a junior combine, which will have the legendary Billy White Shoes Johnson and several of the NFL players running that event.
Wow.
Which will have the kids division and the teenage division. And this is a fundraiser for my mentoring program I have for boys. So it's set October 27th, 28th is the main day. 27th, you know, we're having some of the prejudging that's going on and some of the men's events. But for more information, all they have to do is go to LeeHaneyGames.com, and that'll give all of the different details. But it's a national qualifier. We got people coming in from all over the United States to be a part of the event. Man, I'm extremely proud of it. You know, we do a lot of great things for the communities there. My son Joshua is running it along with my daughter Olympia, my wife. So it's a whole family style event. Wow.
How many athletes total do you think you might get for this?
Oh, we probably have a total of around 400 athletes.
Wow.
Somewhere around there if you include all of them. I know last year in the NPC alone we had over 200 athletes.
Wow.
So we're real excited about it. We've got some great people like Steve Harvey and his wife Marjorie, who are title sponsors. Yep. And of course we got my dear friend Jared, who's over High Tech Pharmaceuticals.
Jared Wheat.
Right, Jared, he came in there with us, man, and said, Lee, we're going to be there to back you. They're located here in Atlanta with us. So then we got Power Block, who's on board. We got Paramount Acceptance. Then we got Benefit Plan Resources, my dear friend, the Press. So we got some great people. The Himmelgarden Racing Team, you know, they're involved. Panera Bread, the Chick-fil-A Foundation, the Braves Foundation. So, man, we're all excited about this thing, and the whole community is.
Wow, great job, Lee, putting this. This sounds like a very, very large event that you put together here.
Oh man, I don't have any hair left, yeah, as you can see.
Right on. So before we get into Olympia talk, you know, we just lost a very young man, 26-year-old Dallas McCarver. Did you know Dallas at all?
You know, I had the honor, and I call it an honor, to meet Dallas at the Nationals last year. He was truly, was it the Nationals or was it the Arnold? Could have been Arnold.
He competed at the Arnold. He got second this year, back in March.
Yeah, it wasn't that then. It must have been the Olympia. Must have been the Olympia.
Okay.
But he was truly a first-class young man. I mean, he teased me and said, "Mr. Haney, guess what? I was born the same year you won your last Mr. Olympia." I said, Dallas, I appreciate you making me feel youthful and young. But he was, without a doubt, the rising star. This young man was going to be Mr. Olympia. You know, he everything that nature could give you in the way of becoming a champion, genetically, he had. As far as desire is concerned, he showed so much promise in that area, too. I mean, look at how his entire physique flowed. I did a recent post on Facebook saying that I can't wait to see him and Big Ramy go neck to neck, you know, on the Olympia stage. So, man, everybody was crushed by his passing. I loved him. We lost an incredible light from the community of bodybuilding. First class all the way, a wonderful young man.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, you know, you don't want to dwell on something as insignificant of how great he could have been at his chosen sport, because this is a human life is about a lot more than that. But
yes,
you know, I think he could have been one of the greats. I think he was on a path to be probably Mr. Olympia in the next, you know, sometime in the near future.
Oh, very near future. We'll
never know. We'll just never know now.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's shift gears. This is all about the Mr. Olympia. So coming up, everyone's talking about this year's Olympia, but I want to revisit some of the highlights of your Olympia career, which was illustrious, obviously. So you were the first national NPC national champion in 1982, and then the following year you were a rookie pro and did your first Olympia in Munich, correct? Germany?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And third place, your first time out. So what really stands out in your memories? What are the highlights in your mind from that very first Mr. Olympia contest that you entered?
Well, you know, being in Germany, and this is my second time in Germany. Well, the third time. I think that maybe a little. It was so long ago. However, but what stood out most of all to me, you know, I was standing on stage at the age of 23, and I was standing there with people like Albert Beckles, you know, Samir Bannout, Muhammad McCarver, Frank Zane, Berto Fox, some of the people, Roy Callender, that I had seen over the years. And there I was as a youngster standing there with these guys that I read about and followed their routines and wanted to be like them and imitate their success. It was absolutely amazing. I really counted it as an honor just to be there.
Yeah.
And at the age of 23, I mean, I was still wearing a Huggy. So that was really something for me, man.
Oh, man. Now, you took third place, and, you know, I remember we talked about this a while ago, as Arnold actually came up to you and gave you some advice at the banquet following the show, correct?
Yes, he sure did. You know, I took third place, and, hey, listen, third place is awesome for your first try at the Mr. Olympia.
23 years
However,
old.
I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
I won the NPC National the first time around, the Junior National the first time around, IFBB World Championship the first time around, and then I was delivered a blow of third place. Oh, man!
In the world. In the entire world.
Yeah, that wasn't in my repertoire, third place. But, you know, it was amazing. Me and Shirley was sitting at the banquet, you know, sort of off to ourselves. I was moping a bit. And, you know, hey, man, listen. Anybody don't mind losing ain't nothing but a loser. So, you know, so I didn't feel good about that. So, you know, we're sitting there, and Arnold came over and he said, "Lee, you look great on the stage, great physique." He said, "But one thing you lack posing ability." He said, "You did an okay job on the amateur level." He said, "But we're talking pros now.
Yeah.
So you really got to step up your game." He said, "I tell you what. Once we get back to California," because I lived there in California at the time, and I'd seen Arnold training at World's Gym, and that's where I trained at. Loved Joe Gold. And the atmosphere there was all business at World's Gym.
Right.
He said, "I will introduce you to my posing coach. So I will set up a meeting. You meet me there, and I'll make the introduction, and you guys go from there." And I accepted his invitation. I was there on time to meet her and Arnold. She worked with me, and the rest is history. You know what? And I look back on that run, and I sincerely wonder, and I think that Arnold was really testing me to see how bad I really wanted this as Mr. Olympia. You know, he sort of put it in my court, and I'm thinking just to see if I would follow through. You see, because, you know, you don't get to be Arnold Schwarzenegger by being double-minded or second-guessing.
Right.
And, you know, guys with that type of mindset will, you know, they'll lead you to the water, but ultimately they want to see you drink.
Yeah.
And I took a drink. I was there, and I took her advice to heart. I took his advice to heart by showing that I meant what I was saying, and I wanted to be a Mr. Olympia, and guess what? It became a reality.
Yeah. Now, you also had over-dieted a bit for that first Olympia, correct?
Oh, I did, man. You know, I recall peaking at 243 pounds. And matter of fact, and again, Arnold saw me at the gym at 243, and he was amazed. He said, Lee, how in the world are you this sharp 4 weeks out from the show? And I just said, well, I don't know. I just am. You know, and see, but he knew from having a professional eye that I was peaking too soon.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening, I peaked at 243 4 weeks before the Olympia and went into the show at 233 pounds. So I lost 10 pounds.
Pure muscle.
Pure muscle. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how to stop what was going on. Yeah. But I learned from that. You know, I went back and went over my notes. And a good friend of mine, Dr. Fred Hatfield, the late Dr. Fred Hatfield.
Dr. Squat.
You know, Dr. Squat, man, the world missed Fred. We sat down together. We went over that entire competition prep. And Fred, you know, after we got together, he said, Lee, after we went over it, he said, guess what? You're just not eating enough food, man. So you can't train like a horse and eat like a bird.
Oh, man.
So I learned from that experience, you know, and that's why it's so important to keep notes. Know where you started, you know, and something go wrong somewhere down the road, you know how to make the adjustments.
Yeah.
So guess what? The following year, 1984, I entered the Mr. Olympia at, guess what, 243 pounds.
Wow.
I was that in 1983.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to peak properly or to hold my weight or make the caloric adjustment.
So I'm sure you wondered this many times over the years, but do you think if you had showed up at that 243 the way you looked 4 weeks out in 83 at the show, then, you know, instead of Samir Bannout winning his only Olympia title that year, you might have started your Olympia reign right there and you might have won 9 of them?
Maybe, but then maybe, I don't know. So it's all a big maybe.
Right. Because
the one thing that Arnold pointed out to me, even in placing third, because, man, I was super sharp for the show.
Yeah.
My presentation lacked. If you're going to go toe-to-toe to Samir Bannout or Muhammad McCarver, you better have your ducks in a row.
They were masters.
Mine just wasn't in a row.
They were known for their posing, right?
Oh, man, posing meant so much during that era in our sport. You know, and I even compare now my 1984 Mr. Olympia win to my 1991, the last one. Yeah. When I look at the posing, I can't believe how I won the first one. Because the posing had became so much more polished, so much more mature in my presentation. And that was extremely important during that particular era of the sport.
What would you say out of your 8 wins, what was the toughest one for you? Which one did you have to work the hardest for?
Ooh, well, I would say the second one. The second one and the third one. Because once you're on the top, the only place to go is down.
True, true.
And you know, you're going back and you say, okay, you're second guessing yourself. Oh, man, I got to do this right. I got to do that right. And what can I do differently than I did before? And so what I found that I was doing was overtraining a bit. Yeah, I was overtraining.
Yeah.
Doing too much because of wanting to stay on top. And I found that to my last Olympia, I backed off a bit and followed through on a training system that kept me fuller, also gave me better recovery, and I ended up in the last Olympia better, I felt, than any other of Mr. Olympias. I didn't overtrain.
Yeah.
I relaxed.
So, you know, I've talked to other guys who are Mr. Olympias, and one thing that seems to be a challenge is because when you're on top, you're in demand, and that's when you were doing a lot of traveling, a lot of appearances, you know, living out of suitcases, maybe not getting the exact food you want all the time, maybe not being able to train when you want. You know, your schedule is just not as conducive to being a pure champion as it would be if you didn't have to run around to all over America and the world. Did you find that your travel and appearance schedule made it a little tougher for you to keep up your physique the way you wanted to?
Well, that took preparation. I picked and choose where I wanted to travel and do appearances. And the cool thing during that era was that if you went to Italy, for instance, you have Franco Fassi, who was the chairman there, let's say, was the IFBB head of that country.
Yeah. So
when you got there, all of the athletes or the gym owners made sure that your food and hotel and all the provisions was taken care of even before you got there. When I went to Japan, it was the same way. When I went to Australia, you had Paul Graham. All of these guys are they are the industry.
Yeah.
So they made sure that those things was taken care of, and the promoters, the gym owners, all of these guys wanted to know how you ate. They wanted to see you train. So it was I had no excuses. I enjoyed every minute of it. I didn't find a situation where I couldn't train or I couldn't eat correctly. Because the main thing one of the things during our era, we always trained up for a competition, or we would redistribute. We never trained down, which gave us the benefit of being able to maybe miss a workout here and not eat as much as this new school of bodybuilders do, because a lot of these guys have to train down for competition.
Right.
They'll be 40 pounds, 60 pounds over competition weight, and they have to kill themselves getting that additional weight off.
Yep.
Well, my era, we believed in staying within striking distance, and for the most part, we would train up. You never saw Ramy or Arnold or Zane or anybody bloom up to 40 pounds. If anything, we'd be a little lighter and then get bigger as we got closer to the show. So it's a whole different school of thought. I'm not saying one is better than the other one, but everybody liked to feel that during their day and during their era that they did things right according to the demand of what the sport was asking.
Well, here's something I've always wanted to ask you, and without going into great detail, it seems to me, looking back at the guys in the 70s and the 80s, that they didn't use supplements, quote unquote, year round, whereas now that seems to be the norm. So, it was a healthier time where if things were used, they were used a lot more conservatively. There was a lot more time off. Would you agree with that?
I would say we were more, mindset was that of athletes. We wanted to look good, but at the same time, we wanted longevity out of our sport. We were careful to make sure we followed good nutritional guidelines, a good supplementation, making sure that we did things to keep our liver, our kidney, and our bloodstream nice and healthy.
Yeah.
If you notice, you've never seen any of the guys from the old school of bodybuilding with injuries, to their knees, their hips, or their backs, or to their shoulders. We began the game and finished the game in great health. So we had a respect for supplementation and those kinds of things. It was all about training, all about rest, all about athletics.
Yeah.
We ran, we jumped. I mean, when I trained Evander Holyfield, guess what? I was running with Evander.
Wow.
I wasn't just blowing the whistle. So we were athletes. You've seen tons of pictures of people like Arnold and Franco running on the beach. Or Zane, we ran, we do things.
Yeah.
Guys here can't move from 10 yards without running out of breath. Look like a big cow in a pasture with big slabs of muscle, but you physically, your endurance is not there.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different school of thought, and I'm not putting anybody down or any school down. I'm just saying my era is what the era was, and it's what was demanded.
Yeah. And
it was the market. Our market and marketability calls for us to look the way we did.
Right. It's also been said that you were the last big man with a small waist that the sport ever really saw, because your last Olympia win, you were just over 250. You were like 252, right?
Right. I hit it at 254 pounds, but you look from 1984, I weighed 243. To 1991, I weighed 254.
Right.
It took me that amount of time to gain 11 pounds.
And at 254, you were still hitting vacuums in your front double bicep shots.
Exactly, because guess what? That's what the sport demanded of us at that time. We wanted to have the symmetry, the balance, the muscle maturity, but at the same time, we wanted to have the athletic look and something that was complementary to the general population, where people looked at us and said, I want to look like you. And because of that, I wanted to look like Arnold, I wanted to look like Ramy, I wanted to look like Jack LaLanne, I wanted to look like Reg Park, I wanted to look like Bill Pearl, and the whole general population drew to our sport because of the way we looked. It was obtainable and not something way out there. And that's still the deal today. That's why we have the sport of classic physique. Yeah. And physique has grown tremendously. Yes. Because it is more in line with what the general population say, hey, I can achieve that. You know, so it's weird now if you don't do some form of weight training. Everybody's doing it. You know, I see judges at the gym. These guys are in there training. You know, I see housewives. Everybody exercise now. It's weird if you don't.
Yeah, right. So getting back to the 91 Olympia, did you know as you prepared for that show, here you are 31 years old, you already had 7 Mr. Olympia titles. Did you know going into that show that this was going to be it for you? You were going to retire if you won that show?
Yes, no doubt about it. Wow. I only had room for one more Mr. Olympia trophy over my fireplace.
So it's the mantle. The mantle made the decision. Wow.
Yeah, that was it. You know, you know when you know. And 8 times, what are you going to say beyond 8?
9, 10?
Yeah, you know, it's 10. Okay, what am I going to do with 10? The whole goal was, okay, let's take this success, let's take this same determination and plant these seeds in other areas of business or whatever it is that I do. Yeah. And what my heart set was all about exercise, nutrition, fitness. And so it was then time to, you know, write books, have a show on ESPN, Lee Haney Championship Workout, had a show on the Trinity Broadcast Network called Totally Fit, a show on Sports South also called Totally Fit. Then I introduced several different books. I now have created what is called the International Association of Fitness Science, which is my personal training certification organization. We have Lee Haney Nutrition. So all of these things I'm doing, but it still goes back to day one, what I've always loved and what I've lived and my passion. So you can't go back and keep repeating the same thing. If you want to go to another level, then you have to move in that direction and not continue to go back until, you know, to walk away with a loss in the end that way, that's not the best way. It's better to walk out on top, not to be forced out, but to walk out on top and pursue the next level of your success.
Now, you just left out a pretty important accomplishment of yours. You were the chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness. You were appointed by the first George Bush president, correct?
No, I was appointed by President Bill Clinton.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, you know, and then that was an honor in itself. You know, a good friend of mine, Senator Max Cleveland, here in Georgia. He was a senator here in Georgia. Yeah. He was a veteran and had an arm missing, leg missing, but we became very good friends. He would come to my fitness center downtown in Atlanta. We would talk about health, fitness, nutrition, and became very good friends. I was there doing several of his fundraising events and so forth. So became great friends. Yeah. So when that position of the chairman of the President's Council became vacant, I mentioned it to him, and he said, Lee, you know, he's already given me a Citizen of Georgia award. He said, what I'll do, I will personally walk your documents before the president and see what happens from that point. And he did. Wow. And I was honored to be able to share and to serve along with the Department of Health and Human Services and establishing what the mandates of the health and fitness should look like for the country. So that was real important to me. All of a sudden, you know, I've taken what I've done from winning the Teenage America to the IFBB World Championship, the 8-time Mr. Olympia. Now I can share that with the general population on a whole nother scale.
Yeah.
So all of those things was a part of that journey, and it as bodybuilding was is a means to helping me get there. So here I am today, and I've truly been blessed. And now we have Lee Haney's Physique and Fitness Games.
Yeah.
We have Haney's Harvest House. All of these different things that I'm enjoying doing, and it all began in the world of bodybuilding.
Now, you know, a lot of people wondered what would have happened if you had kept competing for a year or two, because, you know, Dorian kept improving as those years went by. You know, he was a strong second place his first time out against you in '91.
Yes.
Do you ever wonder if you would have been able to beat him, you know, a year or 2 years down the line?
Let's get this right. If I was able to beat him, what are you talking about, Ron? What are you talking about? If
I have
would
to ask these questions, Lee. I'm sorry.
He's got to come and get me. That's what I'm talking about. As far as I'm concerned, I was totally prettier than Dorian. I'm still prettier than Dorian.
You are. Aesthetically,
I'm a beautiful specimen.
Yeah.
You know, listen, all the respect for Dorian. I think Dorian made a great champion. I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So bodybuilding loved what I looked like during my era, and I think for his era, bodybuilding loved what Dorian looked like.
Yeah.
I think people like a changing of the guards from time to time.
Yeah.
I think that was the end of my era. I mean, could Dorian stand toe to toe to me for mass? Maybe he was bigger, but he wasn't prettier. See, that's the deal.
So you talk about changing a guard, and I mean I've noticed. I've watched a few Olympia reigns in my lifetime already, and it seems once a guy has like 3, 4, 5 Olympias, once they get to that point, a lot of people just like get tired of the same guy winning, and they just want to see anybody else win. I mean, do you feel that that's how the fans are?
I think that depends on what the Mr. Olympia, that person is showing the fans and what he represents.
Yeah.
I never had a boo. I didn't get booed off stage.
No, you did not.
When I won my last Mr. Olympia, I mean, when you look at the video from the 1991, man, I feel so humble that I heard people yelling and clapping and flashes going off everywhere because I gave my very best, and I was appreciated for doing that. I love the fans. You know, I tried to represent in the very best way that I could as far as being a people's champion, loving people, but also knowing that there was a responsibility as a representative of the sport, a representative of family, of what was good, that I had to communicate to those who saw me as Mr. Olympia. So as a result of that, I don't think people got tired of Lee Haney.
I don't remember that with your reign. You're right. You know, you're hearing that so much with Phil though. People are just like tired of Phil winning. A lot of people are anyway. And
well, you know, a lot of time that is what else you bring to the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a victory of muscle. It's got to be a victory of the totality of person. And I'm not saying there's nothing against Phil or Ronnie or Jay or any of that. You look at Tom Platz. Tom never won the Mr. Olympia, but you never heard Tom Platz get a boo.
People love
Tom Platz. They love Tom. I love Tom Platz.
Everybody did.
Everybody did. And everybody still do today. I still look at Tom's videos, man. I get fired up even now. Yeah. I did when I was a younger athlete coming up watching Tom Platz.
Right.
But, you know, but I love the way he handled himself. That's what gives Mr. Olympia longevity. And that love communicated to the fan never goes away if they display that in the right way. Yeah. But yeah, I think sometimes there's not a, you know, as far as I can see, Phil would be Mr. Olympia again. Yeah. He'd be Mr. Olympia again because of, you know, there's nobody there to challenge him physically. Nobody has learned to peak like Phil. Phil has peaking down to a science. He looks fantastic. Does he have the best physique? His physique can be challenged. You know, Kai Green could challenge his physique.
Yeah.
Kai still hadn't came up with the correct science of peaking properly, but his body parts is incredible. Mm. Then you have Cedric McMillan. Cedric has the physique that's like, oh my goodness, what in the world, you know? But I saw this guy, man, some years ago. It brought tears to my eyes. I said, man, that is the Excalibur.
Yeah, yeah.
However, he haven't still yet, I feel, realized his full potential.
Yeah.
I mean, his joints, his tying, the way everything flows is just, I mean, this Mother Nature just threw all of that stuff at him.
Right.
Phil had to maneuver and create things in his physique that Mother Nature didn't give him.
Yeah.
So see, sometimes genetic blueprint can be a blessing as well as a curse. Phil had to work for his. Cedric born with his. And of course he had to work hard.
Right.
I was born with mine, but I had to work hard.
Yeah.
Arnold was born with heels, but he had to work hard. Robbie the same way. So, you know, that's the difference.
Because, you know, you've gotten some flack. I think even Dave Palumbo tried to lure you on a show by saying Lee Haney says Cedric McMillan doesn't have the eye of the tiger. And, you know, they tried to really play that off on you as being a really harsh statement. But, you know, do you think Cedric has the physical tools to be the best in the world if he really, really applied himself at a higher level?
Oh, I got no doubt he has the physical tools to be the best in the world. I said that when I first saw it. Nobody has brought the tear to my eye so as watching them pose other than Cedric McMillan. Yeah. Period. You know, I think, and what some guys didn't understand what I meant by the eye of the tiger. They had some guys say, well, Lee Haney don't know what he's talking about. How do I not know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Lee Haney's out of touch.
I'm out of touch. I don't know what it means. Yes, I do. Arnold do. Robbie do. You know why? The only thing we had was bodybuilding. Mm. We had to win. We had to train hard. We didn't have second choices. Mm. We had to throw our total self into the sport. Ronnie Coleman, the total self into the sport. You can't straddle the fence. I say, when you're carrying a physique like Cedric McMillan, if it was taking you this long to win the Mr. Olympia title, when you have the blueprint, then doggone it, something else is wrong. It ain't your physique. It's something here. Right. We take Rich Gaspari. Rich, I nicknamed Rich Fat Boy. You know, we first started training and say, hey, fat boy, because he came to me to leave. What do you think? You think, do I look good? I said, number one, you're too fat. And so we tease about that now. But Rich was the meanest, roughest, toughest that I ever met. I saw this cat foam at the mouth while we were training. I mean, that's how mean he was. So he took, and his dad, the little short guy, his dad may have been 5'5". His mom may have been 4'10" or 4'11". He had zero genetic blueprint.
Oh my goodness.
But Rich wouldn't take no for an answer. He would eat some of these cats I see now, he would eat them alive and spit them out. Wow. That's how mean he was. Look what he was able to do with his physique. Yeah. He played second to me, I believe, twice.
3 times.
3 times.
In a row. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how is it that a guy like Cedric McMillan would be the greatest physique, I feel, right now in the world, haven't played second in the Mr. Olympia, and Rich Gaspari did with no genetic blueprint? Okay, because guess what? He don't have the eye of the tiger. He don't. It's just, if it was there, he would have already won the Mr. Olympia. Yeah. Or there is nobody to stop him as far as that genetic blueprint. Nobody.
So another guy everyone's talking about this year especially is Big Ramy, who's supposed to be coming into the show at something like 310, 315 pounds. I don't know if you've seen any of the recent pictures. Are you familiar with
Ramy looks incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. You know, and again, he was incredible last year when I saw it.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what the bodybuilding world wants to see. I think guys got to be careful thinking that bigger is better. I think Phil walks a fine line.
Yeah.
Where he keeps his taper, his separation, his development right there in the middle. The Blade does the same thing. You know, Dexter Jackson.
Yeah.
They don't go crazy. So they're right in there. There's a lot of guys got that. Dallas Carver had great symmetry. I like Dallas' physique.
Yeah.
Ramy has so if Ramy, he just got to be careful that he don't go overboard and trying to be this big mass monster. He's already that.
Yeah, he is.
So let's just work what you got and get it more defined, more separation, you know, and go in there and the chips will fall where they may. You're not just going to hand, you can't just take Phil, he's tired. He's not going to hand it to you.
Yeah.
Particularly, we need to know more than you do about peaking from the last show to this show.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen when he hits stage this time. It's totally up to the judges. But from what I've seen in some of the past pictures, Ramy looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah. We also had
last year developing a very good job.
Yeah. Shawn Rhoden was second place last year, so theoretically he should be a favorite to win this year.
Shawn Rhoden?
Shawn Rhoden was second, yeah.
Yeah, Shawn looks great. I thought he made a lot of changes in his physique. I mean, very good symmetry, very good balance. You know, he needed to add more depth to his back, you know, more thickness in that area when he turned to the side. So, as I see it, he's done a great job in doing that. Yeah. But you won't know until these guys line up on the stage.
Right.
I love Shawn's physique. I love the way he's able to present it. He's first class, got nice taper. He's more in line with the school of bodybuilding that I came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it all depends what the world of bodybuilding want to see this go around.
Yeah. Have you been following Classic Physique, or looking forward to seeing the Classic Physique Olympia?
Yes, I'm looking forward to Classic Physique. I think Classic Physique, I feel, in my eyes, is classic bodybuilding.
Yeah, it is.
You know, really. I think if a guy still has his taper, still has his vacuum, still has calves, nice thighs, taper well, that's classic bodybuilding. They just gave it the name Classic Physique. I wish they would have just said classic bodybuilding.
You know, it's not too late. In the future, they could change it.
And I hope they do. Because that's what it really is. It puts bodybuilding back to where what was, and what the world has been, the industry has been crying out for. Mm-hmm. So you and not to take anything away from the bigger, massive guys, because everybody deserves the opportunity to show the best them that they have. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, but no category needs to suffer because of another category. Yeah. Let's still have that physique for the big guys. Then let's have classic bodybuilding. So we have bodybuilding, classic bodybuilding, then physique. Shouldn't be no classic physique. Should be classic bodybuilding. That's my opinion.
Now, do you have any favorite?
I hope you're listening out there. I'll be heads. I hope you're listening.
Do you have any favorites in that division that you're going to be looking for?
It's so new to me. It's so new to me that I saw a young man in this month's MD.
Breon. Or Chris Bum. Well, there's a kid from Canada, Chris Bumstead.
Yeah.
There's another guy from LA named Breon Ansley.
Yeah, I think it was a Breon I saw, but there's some great guys out there. Yeah. But I'm trying to get a grasp for that category, so it still got me shaking my head and wondering.
Well, you know Flex Wheeler, he'll be in it.
Oh yeah, Flex is going to be there. That's going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing Flex. So Flex is classic all the way.
Yeah.
You know, always have been a beautiful classic physique.
All right.
And but so was Lee, so was I. That's who we are. That's who bodybuilding was during that time. So I'm happy to see these new changes starting to occur, which is for the benefit of the entire sport.
Cool. And how about the last but not least, the 212 division? Are you looking forward to watching that?
I tell you what, man, Flex Lewis looked great. I see no reason why Flex shouldn't be on the same stage with Ramy and Phil and all of these guys. Listen, I got my first butt whooping from Muhammad McCarver.
170 pounds.
170 pounds, you know. It's all about the symmetry, the balance, the presentation, all about those things. Frank Zane, all about those things.
Yeah.
Not about how big you are. So I really think, you know, but I understand why they created the class.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a good thing. But Flex, he looks absolutely incredible. Flex Lewis, incredible. Hard to beat that guy.
Very hard, yeah.
Very hard.
So where can people find you at the Olympia next week?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I am so busy. I'm working on a new book.
Yes.
2 new books.
2 new books.
One for the bodybuilding world and then one for the world of age management, fitness, nutrition, exercise. So I've been locked down doing this for the last few weeks. So I may be there at Olympia. I'll leave it as a surprise, and then I may not sure yet. So we'll have to see what happens. You know, we got this hurricane coming in here, and all this stuff is going on. So I got to keep an eye on that.
I think half of Florida went up your way to Atlanta to escape, didn't they?
Oh yeah, the roads are running over with people coming in from Florida. Yeah. And you know, listen, we've been to prayer for the people there in Florida, people there in Texas, and Louisiana. I mean, it's just been a hard time for a lot of people. So listen, guys, those of you listening and watching, make sure you keep these people in our prayers, because we all brothers and sisters. We all need each other. And this is an important time that we got to come together and help one another.
Right on. All right, Lee. Well, I was hoping to see you next week in Las Vegas, but maybe I won't. I don't know.
We'll see what happens, okay?
We'll see what happens. I'll see you a text, and you tell me if you're in Atlanta or Las Vegas, I guess. So,
all right, my man.
I thank you for your time, and there was a little technical difficulty I had before this, and Lee was very, very patient with me. I'm only mentioning that because I have to give him extra thanks for his patience. I'm a technical moron, as some of you have pointed out to me, and, you know, it is what it is. My teenagers are not around to help me today, unfortunately. I only have one teenager. But that's all. So thanks for your time, Lee. It's always a pleasure. Always great to speak to you, sir. And hope to speak to you again soon. For Ronline Report, it's been Ron Harris with the great 8-time Mr. Olympia, Lee Haney.